There we go. Yep, I
Okay,
am.
we're recording.
We're recording. Take one.
Okay, go ahead and introduce yourself and say go
Hey,
ahead and introduce yourself and say, and you are listening to the Movie Rage Show.
yeah. Good afternoon. I'm Dick Warlock, and I'm listening to the radio. What is it? What is it? I'm listening to or watching or something. The something
The
show.
Movie Rage Show.
Hi, I'm Dick Warlock, and I'm listening to the Movie Rage Show right here on.
You are
Where
listening to the movie.
I'm listening to the Movie Rage Show right here on KWZYX, Tucumcari,
Right.
Oklahoma. No, anyway, are you gonna view this later? Is that the deal here? You're gonna edit it and play it some other time?
That's perfect. I'm hoping so. Um,
Okay.
okay, so do you feel like the horror franchises have been less significant, or even the character used, because you yourself have been a part of a very cult classic franchise playing as Michael Myers? Do you feel like franchises are just not of today are just not significant as what you were a part of then?
Well, you know that time moves us on. It just does. Things go, they move on. Serial, not serials, but part two of any one of these things is not the same as they. And look at what they did with from two to four, leaving out three. Uh,
Hmm.
it was a different character. Two guys played Michael. In fact, I think there was three altogether. I think another guy named Mike, he got involved in it for a little bit. So they changed. I went from 5'9" to 6'8". I mean, come on, he didn't grow. No, I don't respect really. I respect the actors and all that kind of stuff, but the storyline is what I really can't get behind in a lot of them. But that's just my opinion. A lot of people don't like my opinion. Everybody's got an opinion, and they're like buttholes. Everybody's got one of those, and they all stink, mine included.
Do you feel the backstory kind of affects Michael Myers as a whole throughout the whole saga, basically, or do you feel like it basically stopped at two and that's where it should have?
You know, the more I see these things, I think they're in it for this. The producers of these things are just in it for the buck. I don't know if they really sit down and say, hey, we're not moving this thing along as far as storyline because they jumped from this thing on the wrist well, I don't know whether you remember that one or not, with the mark on your wrist or whatever that character was. They realized right away, I guess this isn't playing, so they got rid of him. Uh, and the storylines just don't appeal to me. I don't care. I don't care for where the language is gone and the nudity. And I mean, how far are they going to do? Michael Myers is a porn star comes down the line here pretty soon. It's a naked guy in a mask.
Absolutely.
I have
And
no idea.
you yourself have performed that.
Is what the question
And
cuts off.
having performed as Michael Myers, like, do you feel like an artist has to choose that kind of aspect? Like they have to choose the type of role, like playing as Michael Myers or Jason Voorhees, to feel in order to better themselves as far as recognition, or do you feel that character recognition is really based off just the creator itself?
I don't know how to answer that one. You lost me there. You really lost me there with that question. I don't know if the creative stuff stinks. I think the actors, for the
Well, you
most part,
yourself, haven't, did you feel like you
did what? Did I feel like I did what? You asked me, but I didn't get all the question.
did you feel like you had to choose that?
had achieved what? I'm you're way up here intellectually, I guess, because I'm not getting it.
Well, performing as Michael Myers, did you feel like when you get this role, did you feel like in a way you had to choose this, like this was going to be something bigger than what you expected?
No, no, I had no idea what this movie was all about. I had never seen one. I mean, you remember I'm be 85 in a couple of months. I go back to the 40s and 50s, and Frankenstein and the Wolfman and Dracula. That was my genre. When John Carpenter did a brilliant movie called Halloween, that was the start of a whole new thing as far as horror goes. You know, because my only relation to horror before that was the Creature from the Black Lagoon, and that was a really, and it still is one of my favorites, if not my favorite movie. And it's not even horror. You know what I mean? Uh, anyway, uh, I just did what I thought would carry over from what Nick and Carpenter did uh, as a character, and he created somebody. Nick played it and created it his way. I tried to do like the head tilt thing. I stole it from him. The walk I changed because the only place I saw the walk was, and this is probably way off base from your question, but there was a scene in there where he got stuck in the ice and he fell down on the floor, and it cut to Laurie Strode and the kid, and then he gets up and does that mechanical, oh, oh. I thought that's the only thing I can get my head around as far as playing the character. That's the reason I played it like mechanical, because he was out there. He wasn't normal anyway. This character, I figured, because like I say, I hadn't seen the movie, so Deborah Hill showed me the movie, or gave me a copy of the movie to look at, uh, to get ready to play Michael, because I had met those two, John and Deborah, on Escape from New York, and that's the only reason I was on that film. Is Deborah liked what I did there, and that was the first time I met him. And she called after we finished Escape and said, I want you to coordinate this movie for me. And when I met the director and said, can I do this? He said, I don't see why if she doesn't. So she didn't. So I played the guy. And, I tried to do what I thought was right as far as creating that character again from what Nick had laid down. I don't know whether that's a long way around, maybe, to answer your question, but as far as from there on, no, I wasn't impressed with any of them. I mean, they were all their own movies, like Halloween 3, which I played in all the way through practically. It was another movie, but it wasn't anything like, as far as carrying on Michael Myers. So what they did with the character, and it's just sequels is the word I was looking for earlier. They do sequels and they're never as good. I mean, look at Jaws. I worked on Jaws, and seeing Jaws I think is really where it's at, because for the first 55 minutes of the movie, you never saw the shark. It was like dun 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 dun. That's what was a shark at that point. But then in number two, you'd already seen that shark before. No, no biggie. He does the same thing, and he swims and eats people. It, they get kind of flaky after a while. And as far as the Halloween series goes, it was just murder and chaos. They see how big they can create the kills with the most blood, gore, and whatever. So I'll get a lot of feedback from that probably. Yep.
Do you feel that Michael Myers, who has been one of the biggest icons along with all the other icons, do you feel like that this character is starting to become a more of a positive thing to not just to help the horror genre, but you think it's becoming more of a positive thing to moviegoers as a character, not just moving the horror genre to a new level?
I think the character himself, they're all built around character. And the reason I say that is when they finished part two, I asked Deborah, can I have this stuff, this mask? And she says, you can have the whole outfit. We're never going to do another movie with Michael Myers, and we're done with him. We're moving on with a whole series of just Halloween movies. And what did they do? They come out with three with no Michael Myers, and the audience screamed, "Where's Michael Myers?" Uh-oh, we shot ourselves in the foot, didn't we? So they brought him back. So let's face it, it really doesn't matter who plays him and what the story's about, as long as Michael Myers in that white, Bill Shatner mask uh, is in the movie, they'll dig it. They'll buy the tickets, and the producers, and there's been several different producers, but they know what it is. It's cash. So yeah, I don't know whether I answered it or not because I tend to get on a rant every once in a while. And did you got another question?
Now, do you feel that, corporate studios are also like kind of dumbing down these characters? Now, granted, they made their mark in history, regardless if it's horror or any other type of genre, and they're very popular and they're doing TV series or overlapping existing franchises and, cash cow, so to speak. Do you
Yeah.
feel that studios and companies are even almost hurting the image of even John Carpenter, who created this character, and you being a part of one of these characters, do you think that in a way kind of hurts you as well?
No, no, not really. Not as a person. There's a big base of fans out there. When I do one of these conventions, the Lions they show me that they really like what I did. It's not just about me. I mean, I'm short. I don't really, I was 5'9" when I got the job, and I bought the boots that booted, and they put the insoles in them that boots me to 6 feet, which is what Nick was. So as far as relativity, I was there that way, but we didn't do. I don't know. This is the hardest podcast I think I've ever done as far as the questions, but maybe it's just my lack of this to give you a good answer. I don't
No,
feel
there's
pushed
always
out of
fans that
place.
always like to
That what? There's always
there's fans
fans
that
that
always compare, like especially like Jason, they're like who did better and whatnot, and that's always an ongoing conflict. Have you ever compared yourself, which Michael to yourself could be better, or what you could have done better, or do you feel like what makes you different playing as Michael Myers to the other Michael Myers from then to present day, if you have seen the other Michael's performances?
I've seen up to, I don't know the number. I think it was the last one with Chris Duran, 7, I think. When they started with the zombie thing, is it Rob Zombie's? My son, who's an actor as well, he's in the first or the second movie. Both my sons are in the second movie, but Billy said, "You don't go see it, Dad. You won't like it. You're gonna see what's her name? The little gal. She was in the first two, I think, or the first one rather. And she's a good little actress. I don't know whether you can pick up on who I'm trying to remember up here. I can't remember her name. But in one part, she shows her tits. I mean, what's with that? Anyway, uh, it just goes off the rail for me. The whole Halloween thing it went off the rail after part two. There was the first one and the second one, and that was the end of the series as far as I was concerned. And it wasn't about me; it was about the character and the stories, and the
Now,
language
Halloween
and
2 had some problems with the story itself, like as far as the ending and whatnot. People had some problems with that, like consistency, like cliffhanger and whatnot. But financially, when they were trying to figure out getting themselves out of the hole, so to speak, did it financially hurt you a little bit? Because oftentimes, you need residuals or whatever agreement you may have. did it ever affect you in any way because they were trying to figure out, okay, how do we fix what we did on in part two?
I don't know that they even thought about a fix in part two. I get the residuals that on what I made, and with every movie, maybe I don't know what any of the other characters made to compare it to. I know my residuals are based on what I made on the show and how much it's generated as far as income for everybody. Uh, with residuals, there's a pie, and the more people you got getting a piece of the pie, the smaller your residual gets. And over time, with all of these outbreaking uh, different venues for showing this same movie, it gets less and less. If you had NBC, ABC, and CBS, they paid good. Now you got a fourth one. Now you got a fifth. Now you got an eighth, your 10th. It just gets smaller and smaller because they're showing it more frequently and so on and so forth. But I don't, I'm hard pressed for some of the answers to the questions that you're asking. I wish I could come up with something different, unusual, informative, but I'm stuck.
Would you say that basically every time they kept showing Halloween 2 or anything that you were related to Halloween itself, it would get smaller in today's market, and then unless you yourself were to say to actually perform as Michael Myers, then it's a big pay for you, and then when they start showing it, that's where it ends, is where the big pay is, right?
Yeah, yeah. They'll never. I was called once,
And it's always hard. I know.
and if I still can't find an answer for your question. I don't know what. See, I'm not equipped to answer your question because I don't understand it.
In today's,
You're talking to
horror,
a you're
there's
talking
always
to a
this,
10th grade
really gory
dropout.
slashers.
It's what?
There's always, gory slashers, and just, like you said, there's always nudity and all that stuff. And it's cash grab. It's always, make money, make big bucks. And do you feel like it doesn't even matter what they put out now as far as horror goes? What was actually made back then? Because you have great classics, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Thing. You've got Halloween. You've got The Evil Dead. You've got Child's Play. You've got so many great, films that came out that nobody knew was going to even be a success. But now
Yeah.
today you got literally just, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then we go back to, how about check out Halloween? And then even that, what they did with those, the story's not good, or they just killed off this character and it just completely just no longer of interest. Do you feel that horror, certain with these franchises and characters, do you think these characters should just finally just end it, where the interest will also be ended by moviegoers, including yourself?
I don't know because they still show the Frankenstein movies once in a while and the old from the 40s and the 50s. So how long these are going to last depends on the audience, how the audience changes. Let's face it, this world is changing rapidly by the day. Who knows it, what it's going to turn into? The technology just exponentially grows out of sight for me. Uh, when we did that movie, it was pretty basic, and all the films were pretty basic. The stunt guys were using pads and stuff that they don't even use that half the time anymore, except to catch the actor if he happens to slide over where he's going to bump into a wall. Supposedly, he's hanging from cables as big around as my finger and strapped in all kinds of apparatus. I mean, that's not realism. Sure, what's his name? The actor that hangs on the side of an airplane, whatever his name is, I can't even remember. Uh, But anyway, no, I don't know what it's going to be. They could stop showing Halloween today, never show it again. And yet it may run on and on for years and years. Everything is changing. It's reaching for things. It's reaching for ideas that aren't yet there. And if they do develop, it's going to be Elon Musk or somebody like that who thinks way ahead, that's going to bring it to fruition. I don't think it's going to be movie makers that are current. I don't think the guys that were, well, obviously, none of us, when we were doing our stuff, thought about what they're doing today. It was the people that came along after us, each generation, not literally, but but you get different people in with different ideas, and the growth of the whole thing just keeps going. But where it's going to end, I have no idea. I think it'll go into futuristic kind of crap, you know.
Now, do you feel that the more technology changes, the more that the genre changes, and does that also mean that it could actually change your look, your perspective of how you see either horror or any other movie that you might watch because everything is so new, so shiny, and but yet there's no that some of that realism that was made back in the 80s, 50s, 60s, and before that, where it was like, where you could shock somebody, like, and everybody would leave the movie theater and whatnot.
Yeah, they don't. They got to really be shocked today to get up and leave. You know what? I mean, I remember people go, "Yeah, there's Frankenstein, or there's." They're not moved by a whole lot, and then if you don't move them, they don't buy tickets because they don't tell their buddy, man, you got to see this movie, man. It's out of sight. We're doing this and that. Well, the car rolls that I did were done well when I did them, but the next generation figures out that, well, if I put a pipe here, I can get that car to go over farther and maybe roll another time. And then it's two or three times because we got a cannon in there that blows it over. Well, what's next? What how far does it go to blow a car in the air? I mean, right now they're blowing cars 30, 40, 50 feet in the air, but they could blow them just into eternity, perhaps. Who knows? The characters are going to be, I think, horns or eyes, or you know, like I say, it's moving so fast, and the generations are being exposed to so much stuff that goes on. Now with AI, they can do anything they want to do. They can put my face on your body and make me look great. Put your face on my body and you look like a shriveled up old dude. You know what I'm saying? But they could do that, and it's troublesome for me up here. I don't even like to think about it. You know, it's the whole world is troublesome for me.
Well, before we get out of here, could you? It's almost Halloween, and I'm actually supporting my away team right here, as you can see, probably. Could you share maybe a few memories of your time in Halloween 2, for those that just absolutely love the saga itself, or even Michael itself? If you can remember, I know it's a long time ago, but what's your most fondest memories that you'd like to share to everybody that nobody knows about this movie?
Actually, to be honest with you, most people know more about the movie than I do, and they'll tell you that. I mean, I could go on this Michael-Myers.net thing where it's really popular. I don't know whether you know the one I'm talking about or not, but and I used to go on there at a request from a friend of mine who's a moderator on that show, and I they would ask me questions and I would offer opinions or memories, and I'd go off air, and the next day somebody, nah, he didn't know what the hell he's talking about, man. I know it. No, they did it this way, and they talk that way, and and it was like, hey pal, I'm not coming back on your thing anymore because they know more about it than I do. Well, they really don't, Dick. I know, but they do. So I don't. I'm not. Uh, what am I going to share that hasn't been shared? It's like, how did you get the movie, Dick?
It says
Well,
we're out of time on the Zoom, dude.
you're not out of
Are you?
time.
Do you still got time on
I
yours?
got
Because
45 minutes on my Zoom.
mine says, oh, we're almost about time.
Okay.
Mine says about time I have to like upgrade or something. Sir, one quick memory before we go, before this goes out. I'm sorry, guys. This is the first time I've used Zoom on this thing. So I'm sorry, sir. One quick memory, real quick, before this Zoom goes out, because I only have the basic package.
Well, there isn't any that you can't find online, but I would like to know what it is about this particular thing you're using that is so fantastic. What is the platform you're using? I'm using Zoom. You're using
My phone.
really? Do you do all your interviews on your phone?
Audio. It's all audio. All my interviews are by Bluetooth and
Oh,
audio, and
so
I post it up on
we're not
YouTube.
using this video at all. It's all okay.
You're
Okay.
recording them. I'm pretty sure you can send it to me when it's finished recording. You
Okay.
can save it on your laptop. I can't save it on mine. I'm not on a laptop because I don't know how long it's going to take to download, and I
I
didn't want to
got
be late.
okay. I got you. I got you.
So anyway, if we're still recording, hopefully, I'm sorry guys, this is all screwed up, but um, it just introduce yourself and say Happy Halloween, everybody.
Hey, I'm Dick Warlock, man. Have a great Halloween. I love you all. Thank you very much. Bye.
There you go. Okay, see if you can hit end on there. I don't know. You can do it on your end. If I hit end, I might end up screwing up the whole thing. Let's see what you can
Okay.
do.
This is the end of the podcast. Good
The
night.
Blu-ray show.
The late show, rate show, whatever it is, gate show.